Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to the WinUI Community Call, October edition. I'm Anna. Hopefully you guys can see me. I think I look frozen on my screen. I am just going to switch to showing the PowerPoint so if you can't see me. So welcome to this month's WinUI Community Call. We have a really great call for you guys today. Thank you to everybody who is here with us today. Let's just get right into it. So, a little bit about the community call if this is anybody's first time. Usually we do these on the third Wednesday of every month at 9 a.m. Pacific. Next month is a little different. There won't be an actual WinUI community call, but instead we'll be merging with the app development community stand-up, and that is going to be on Tuesday, November 17th at 9 a.m. So it's just the day before the normal WinUI community call would have been, but it is on a Tuesday, so make sure you don't miss it. You can always get in touch with our team on GitHub and on Twitter using, the handles that you see right here. So for today's agenda, I'll be doing an intro, giving a few quick updates on WinUI. We will be talking about new upcoming controls in WinUI 2, and we will also be talking about developer tooling and experience updates for WinUI 3. We'll have a WPF update. We'll talk a little bit about why C#/WinRT, and get into some .NET integration info. And last, but definitely not least, we have our ecosystem spotlight. So SyncFusion is joining us today and telling us all about their new control suite for WinUI 3. And of course, we will have Q&A at the end. So let's see, what is WinUI? WinUI is the native UI platform for Windows 10. It's built for today's modern hardware and devices, offering the latest fluent styling. You can use WinUI to build C++ apps or .NET apps for Windows 10 devices. And the cool thing about WinUI is that it powers the Windows and Xbox OS shells and many other apps, as well as platforms like React Native for Windows or Xamarin Forms. So we have WinUI 2 and WinUI 3. WinUI 2 is the second generation of this native UX stack in Windows, and it's built for UWP apps only. So WinUI 2 consists of the visual layer and the XAML framework in the operating system, and it's a library as well as a library of Fluent-based controls and styles, and we usually ship updates to WinUI 2 trimesterally. WinUI 3, on the other hand, is the new third generation of this UX stack, and it's currently in preview. So it consolidates the UX technologies that were previously in WinUI 2 that were built into Windows, and it kind of builds them into this single decoupled framework. And so the cool thing about WinUI 3 is it is made available for every type of Windows app. So whether you are creating Win32 desktop apps or UWP apps, WinUI 3 should offer you a modern UI. So as for some updates, in case you missed it, we have recently released a new feature roadmap on our GitHub repo. So this is a table that shows just a ton of features and when they will be coming to WinUI 3. Are they coming in a preview release? Are they coming in the 3.0 GA release? Are they coming after 3.0? You can find all of that information, and this is on our GitHub repo. If you go to our GitHub repo, I think that's aka.ms/winui/github, and then you navigate into the docs folder, you'll see our roadmap in there, and that's where you can find this. There was a new WinUI 2.5 pre-release package that was released, I think, very soon after the last community call. So that included a lot of bug fixes and improvements to testing infrastructure, and I believe there will be another pre-release package out sooner rather than later, and those are available via NuGet. Another cool thing is that Miguel Ramos, who is a member of the WinUI team, actually gave a talk in Spanish for .NET Core Conf all about WinUI 3. So if you speak Spanish, definitely go give Miguel's talk a listen. All right, so now I'm going to pass it off to Gabby, who is a new member of the WinUI team, and she is going to tell you a little bit about InfoBar, which is a new control for WinUI 2.
Hi, everyone. Yep, thanks, Anna, for the introduction. I'm Gabby, and this is my first WinUI community call, so thanks for having me. I joined the WinUI team only about 6 months ago, and first started out trying to figure out what exactly a long-lived app-wide status message really was. But luckily, I had a GitHub issue with dozens and dozens of community comments to help guide me. So the info bar control is for displaying app-wide status messages to users in a highly visible yet unobtrusive way. We recommend you use an info bar to display messages like internet disconnected, your subscription is about to expire, and update available. There are built-in severity levels to easily indicate the type of message shown, as well as the option to include your own call to action or hyperlink button. Since the info bar is in line with other UI content, the option is there for the control to always be visible or dismissed by the user. If you'd like more details, please check out the spec at the link above, and feel free to ask any questions today or in the open GitHub issue. The info bar will be released in the next preview package of WinUI 2.5 for you to try out. And I'd like to give a shout out to everyone who's left feedback and commented so far on the info bar spec, PR, and discussion. It's been super, super appreciated, and it's great to connect with you all. I'm really excited for the info bar to be in a preview package and look forward to hearing your feedback.
All right, awesome. Thanks so much, Gabby. I'm seeing in the chat that nobody can see video, and I want to apologize. For some reason, I couldn't get the streaming software to show the little video in the corner today. I thought I was fancy, making this whole new look for the community call, but I couldn't figure that out. But we will hopefully have our video on for Q&A, so just stay tuned. But now I will pass it on to Marissa, who is also a newer member of our team, and she's going to be talking a little bit about pager control.
Thanks, Anna. Hi, everyone. I'm Marissa. I'm also a new team member, along with Gabby, working on pager control, which has been a proposal that received a lot of comments from the community. So I'm happy to be working on this and providing it to you all in the next pre-release. Pager control is a UI component that you can use with any layout view, like list view, grid view, or data grid, in order to add pagination to your app. It is independent in control of the layout, so it will not control any of the data that is being shown in the layout view. But we did this way so you would not have to worry about the UI piece of building a pager, and you can just focus on the data management and the hooking it up. You can see in the video on the right that there are 3 different display modes that you can configure the control to be. There's a number panel, a combo box mode, and a number box mode. So you can choose which one is best for your scenario and style it however you like. I also want to give a huge shout out to Qingyu Coding for not only being really active in helping me with the spec and the APIs, but also this is the first control that was implemented by a community member. So a huge, huge shout out to Qingyu Coding for helping us build this control and making it possible. And I also want to give a shout out to Felix Dev for also being active in the spec reviews, and this really helps us make sure that the APIs and the control works best for you. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Marissa. It's really exciting for me to see all these new controls in WinUI 2, and I know that a big kind of part of these controls is community contributions, which is all of you guys. So I just want to echo their thanks. Yeah, this is awesome. Okay, next up we have JP, yet another newer member of the WinUI team, who is going to be talking about updates to developer tooling and experience. So JP, why don't you take it away and let me know when you share your screen.
All right, hey everyone. My name is JP and I'm a new PM working on tuning for WinUI. I also work on Template Studio, which was showcased on last month's community call, so I encourage you to watch that stream if you haven't. Today I'll be talking about some tuning features coming in WinUI 3 Preview 3. These features are IntelliSense, which is code completion that allows you to call methods and properties with a couple of keystrokes. We also have Live Visual Tree and Live Property Explorer, which provide you with a tree view of the UI elements in your app and allow you to change the runtime properties for these elements. And then finally, we have Hot Reload, which is all about productivity. and allows you to see XAML changes in your app without having to build and redeploy every time. And the changes that you make in the code will be reflected in real time in your running app. For more tooling updates, I have a Twitter handle at JP_PM, and you can go on there, and if you have any questions or just want to get general tooling updates, you can see them there. Now I'm going to try to go ahead and share my screen to provide a simple demo for these features.
Okay. Okay, awesome. We can see your screen.
Perfect. So as you can see here, I just have a basic desktop WinUI 3 app written in C#. We can see the app right here, and let's go ahead and make some changes to it. So
JP, if I can just interrupt you for a sec. Sorry, you might just want to zoom in just a little bit on the text.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Perfect.
There we go. Okay. So I'll start typing, and then IntelliSense already shows up. So let me add a toggle switch to this app. And then with hot reload, you can change right there. We'll change the orientation to vertical here. Look a little better. And then another thing we can do is change some. Let's go ahead and change the foreground property, and you can see the list of all the colors that are offered for this. You can navigate it with your keyboard, and you can also scroll down, pick one that you like, and the change is reflected right here on the app. Now for Live Visual Tree, you can click here on the left side. Live Visual Tree will pop up, and you can get a tree view of all the UI elements in your app. You can go in and inspect one. So here I'm inspecting the button that we have here that says click me. I can go here, show properties, and it will give me the properties for that button. So for the content, it says click me right now. And if I make a change here, it'll get reflected here in the app. And that's it for the demo.
Perfect.
I'm really excited about all these tooling features and hope that people can use them to their advantage as well.
All right, awesome. Thanks so much, JP. And yeah, get excited, guys. Preview 3 is set to release in November, and it will have all of these, really important quality of life improvements in terms of tooling and experience updates. So thanks so much, JP, for sharing and for, getting our team to the finish line on this. Next up, we have Pramalini, who is a member of the WinUI team, who is also driving the WPF effort. And we just have a quick WPF update for anybody that is using WPF on this call. So Pramalini, why don't you take it away?
Thank you, Anna. And I believe you will be sharing the slide.
Yes, sorry. Let me go ahead and share that to our Teams call again.
So while Anna's sharing the slide, folks, so yeah, I've been on the WinUI team for a while, although I have taken on WPF responsibilities only in the last few months. We've been on this call a couple of times since July. And after that, we have been heads down on some of the work that we had promised as part of our roadmap that we published on GitHub. So I'm here today to give you a quick update. First off, all of the work for .NET 5 stands completed. As of last week, we had a bunch of fixes that we needed to port from .NET Framework, and all of that is checked in and ready to go. So one of the major line items in the roadmap that we published was this particular work item, and that's done and completed. So we're really excited about that. Now, the team is heads down next on the accessibility updates, as well as ARM64 support. As most of you know, our team is still heavily low on resources. However, ARM64 is heavy-duty work. So we do expect this work to take us into 21H1. As and when we have an internal build available for you to try out, we will keep you informed about it. And we do want your feedback once it's out and you have a chance to try it. Next up, now that we're done with .NET 5 work, we are actively transitioning into .NET 6 and identifying the work that we would be including in .NET 6. With that brings me to our last update here, is that we will be updating the roadmap on GitHub very soon with the list of items that we have identified for .NET 6. So please stay tuned for that. And that's all I had for today. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much for sharing. All right. Next up, I'm telling you guys, we just have a ton of content for you today. I'm really excited about this. Okay, next up we have Steve, who is a senior software engineer on the WinUI team. He has been a part of many a community call in the past, answering your questions, but today he is here to talk a little bit more in depth about C# and WinRT. So Steve, I believe you're going to share your screen for this.
Yes. Thank you, Anna.
Awesome.
So I hope everyone see that. We're good?
Yep, I believe we can see it.
Okay. So, hi everyone. As Anna introduced myself, I'm Steve Kerbach, and I'm an engineer on the WinUI team. Today I wanted to share with you why we started on this journey of rethinking how the .NET and WinRT integration story works. I'm hoping to keep this presentation short and sweet, and by the end you should have an understanding and appreciation for how important and fundamental the work that we're doing is and the value that will bring to you, our developers. So, if you look at where WinRT and .NET is today, the integration story hasn't changed much since the start of Windows 8. And that's not because everything's perfect, but that's just due to the complexity. And as we start to look into things like XAML islands and integrating your WPF and UWP, there are impedance mismatches that made it really hard to make a good experience. So, I'm a big believer in simple solutions above all things, and the design we had just made it really hard for us to make improvements to the developer story and your experience. So one example of those are like the type mappings between Windows and .NET. If you've been playing around with the WinUI previews today in the UWP, the iNotify property changed is you can no longer use the system component model. So you don't have your MVVM library work that you probably like. Your favorite libraries, you can't use them anymore. And there's no fixing that with .NET Native. So we kind of had to totally reimagine this layer. The fact of the matter is the landscape where we're at today is just so much different than we were 10 years ago. So this is such a fundamental part of the user experience is this layer. So, it might seem like we're undoing everything. I don't think that's the appropriate way to frame it. I like to look at it in terms of step. We started at step A with Win32, and we went all the way to step Z with UWP. But now we're kind of going back in and filling in steps B through Y. And along the way, we sort of realized that there's no good way to do that without something like C# WinRT. So there are two key focuses of why I think C# WinRT is important. And while they're simple, I think they're very powerful. Those two things are to align with .NET and providing new projections, which allow us to bring new features to you. The .NET team is focusing on a single .NET platform for all their users, and Windows is no exception to that. We want all Windows developers to have access to the latest .NET features, regardless if you're in Win32 or UWP. So hopefully you can see the immediate value that this brings. We have iService Provider coming with WinUI 3, and something like this would not have been possible without C# WinRT. We're just at the very beginning. Our goal has been to get parity with the existing experience. So things might not be perfect today, but we're at a point now where the layering is done in a way that there's no more magic in the .NET runtime and .NET tooling. So we can really have a lot more flexibility to add value where you guys need it. So next, I wanted to talk about the elephant in the room, which is the UWP and .NET. I don't feel like I can even talk about .NET and WinRT without addressing UWP. So I have something to share with you that I hope you're all as excited about as I am to talk about, and that's how you can use WinUI 3 in a WP app that runs on .NET 5. So first and foremost, I just want to say that we obviously still much believe in UWP, and if you're making investments today in UWP, you will have a path forward. I know that the community has already figured this out, but I wanted to share with you how we've the experience that we have today, because there's a little bit different way of doing it, where you can just make a little bit of few tweaks to your WinUI desktop project and turn that into a WinUI 3 and WPF app running in .NET 5. So you can build in VS, you can F5 in VS, and it has a very similar experience to what the desktop is like today. So just to set expectations, this is not production ready, nor a guarantee of when we'll have something that we feel like is production ready. We're still working hard to figure out that timeline when we could really have something to you, and we're just not there yet to really share that. I know it's been frustrating to get to this point, so I just want to thank all of you for your patience and understanding. So with that, I will go to a demo, because there's nothing better than seeing some demos. JP. So here's my WinUI 3 app. And as you see here, it looks very much similar to my WinUI 3 desktop app today. And if I F5 it, it's a UWP app. So the simple way I have showing it is you have compact overlay, which kind of verifies that it's running in UWP. And as JP showed, you even get things like LVT. So that is that demo, and I hope that is as exciting for you as it is for me. And that is all I have to share today.
Cool. Thanks so much, Steve.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah.
All right, great. Yeah, it's always great to see things live, and I know that this has been quite a hot topic, something that a lot of people are interested in seeing. So thank you so much, Steve, for presenting all that. Let's see what is next. So next we have our ecosystem spotlight with SyncFusion. So I would like to introduce Shiva Kumar, who is a product manager at SyncFusion, who manages their desktop platforms. So why don't you go ahead and share your screen and show us what SyncFusion has been up to.
Yeah. Just a second. So, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, perfect. We can see it. And you might just want to minimize the Teams window.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Anna and Tony, for having me here. I'm Shivkumar, and I am product manager at SyncFusion. I'm mainly focusing desktop platforms, WPF, Windows Forms, UWP, and WinUI. Today, I'm going to talk about our first version of WinUI controls and how to get started. Also, I will be showing demos of our controls. Before jumping into WinUI topics, I will go over the other tools that we provide at SyncFusion. Our developer platform offers more than 1,600 components for web, mobile, Windows, and file format development, including those who are targeting Blazor, JavaScript, Vue, Angular, and Flutter platforms. Our controls are built with high standard and long-term maintainability in mind. Also, SyncFusion is a publisher of Succinctly series ebook that is an ever-expanding library of over 150 ebooks. These books are written by industry experts. Let me play a 1-minute video about how SyncFusion meets all your business software needs in one place.
Hey, so it looks like we are not getting the audio from your video. Maybe you didn't share to Teams with the audio turned down?
Yeah.
Or turned on, rather?
Yes.
You can go ahead and stop sharing and reshare if that's easiest.
Yes.
And also, we're getting a few comments that you're a little quiet. So if you just want to step a little more towards the mic, that would be awesome.
Sure, Anna.
Perfect.
When you as a developer are tasked with creating an app, 3 things are almost always true. You have too much work to do, too little time to do it, and a lot of that work is downright tedious. Well, we're here to help with that. SyncFusion is the leading component vendor for desktop, web, and mobile platforms. Is that grid going to take over 40 hours to code into your Xamarin app? Just plug in hours, and you'll have massive functionality at your fingertips in just a few minutes. After over 18 years in business, we have more than 1,600 controls available to make your work easier. From basic buttons and drop-down lists, to an image editor, a scheduler, and file format libraries. Whether you write with the tried and true ASP.NET Core, ASP.NET MVC, and WPF, or more cutting-edge frameworks like Flutter or Blazor, SyncFusion's got you covered. Our components integrate easily into your codebase and provide high performance, so you can leave the boring basics of your front-end needs to us, while you focus on your business logic. We also have a highly praised support team to solve any issue, anytime, thorough documentation, and showcase examples. See if SyncFusion is right for your project's needs by signing up for a free 30-day trial or scheduling a product demo. And soon, you'll be delivering innovation with ease.
Okay. So a couple of weeks back, we have released our first version of WinUI controls. All our WinUI controls follows fluent design and also supports light and dark themes along with complete localization support. Our first version includes 10 plus new controls ranging from bigger controls like chart, data grid to smaller controls like batch and barcode. With these controls, you can start off with the WinUI development. Our WinUI suite is in free preview version, so give it a try. Let's jump into the demos. So let's start with data grid. This is the getting started demo. Data grid provides built-in support for sorting, grouping, filtering, and interactive support for grouping the data. And also it provides various auto fit column options, so where you can fit the columns as you need. Also, SyncFusion provides data grid provides multiple selection modes in data grid: single, multiple, and extended, where you can and with the complete keyboard support, where you can just press the control key and select multiple records, or you can press shift key and select range of records. Editing editing can be disabled or enabled as you need. As of now, we are supporting combo box, checkbox, and text edit columns. We are also planning to support date picker, time picker, and numeric edit columns in coming releases. Next, you can sort the data against one or multiple columns. Here I am going to sort against 2 columns, and I am going to show the sort order also. You can enable or disable the sorting for data grid, or also you can enable or disable the sorting for particular column also. You can also group the data against one or more columns. Here I am grouping the data and reordering the group orders. Also, SyncFusion data grid supports aggregating summaries. The summary row is displayed for the table and also group. At the top here, one table summary row is displayed, and at the bottom also we are displaying one table summary row. You can add any number of summary rows. For the group also, you can show the summaries at the caption or at the end of the groups. You can add multiple summary rows for group also. The summaries can be calculated for the entire grid. You can change it to calculate only for the selected records also. And this is filtering, where we provide Excel kind of UI to easily filter the data. So also we are providing advanced options to easily select the data and filter quickly. And next, auto rotate support, where the height of the rows are fit based on the content in the grid. And next comes the data stack headers, where the column headers can be grouped to provide desired look and feel in app. And this is tree grid, where you can show the tree structure data in data grid. So here the self-relational data is displayed in a tree structure. Here the tree is formed based on report store and employee ID. Next comes to the nested collection. The tree grid displays the nested collection in tree structure. Tree grid also supports auto-fit columns similar to data grid, and also it has features like selection, sorting, similar to data grid, and filtering. It allows to filter only root level nodes or all the nodes in the tree grid. You can also choose extended option where only the nodes that are displayed in the view will get filtered in the Excel like filter UA. Next is our chart, which is used to visualize and analyze the data with an ever-expanding collection of 10 plus charts and graph ranging from line chart to circular chart. Let me go over some of the chart types. This is our column chart and bar chart, area chart, bubble. All the series in the chart provided with beautiful animations, scatter, line, spline area, step area, and step line. In the circular charts, we have pie chart, dognut, and semi-pie, semi-dognut, and we have other demos showcasing various combinations of using the chart. Here we have added multiple pies in a single chart. Same for dognut also. This is the vertical chart where the axis and series are rotated to 90 degree. Also, charts comes with various interactive features like tooltip and drag ball, where users can easily compare the values against different series, and crosshair, where user can get the x and y axis values at any point. Selection and zoom and pan. So here, zooming and panning. Also, charts comes up with multiple built-in palettes. So let me go over some of the palettes. You can also define a custom palette for chart. Also, the series template in the chart can be customized as you need. Here the bar and column chart is customized using the templating feature. Next one is our radial gauge. Is a data visualization control used to visualize the numerical values in a range and range in a radial scale. This is the getting started demo of our radial gauge. This is the axis in radial gauge. It supports to customize minimum and maximum values and start angle, end angle. Labels in the axis can be, you can toggle the visibility of the labels, and also ticks. You can change the position of the labels either inside or outside of the axis, and also you can change the tick position also as you need. You can add range to the circular gauge. Here we added 3 ranges to the circular gauge with different colors, and here we added the pointer to the gauge. You can also add annotations to the gauge, and annotation position can be changed based on the angle or axis value. Here I am changing the position of the annotation based on the angle value. Let me go over some of the more customized samples. Here comes the card dashboard demo, where we have customized radial gauge to show how it can be transferred to various kind of applications. This is a clock demo where we have hosted 2 radial gauges inside a radial gauge using annotation feature. Here comes the temperature monitor. This was and distance range tracker. Here we have used the range pointer with the gradient colors. Multiple axes can be also added to the gauge. Here we have added 2 axes. And the labels and ticks in the axis can be customized to any extent. The custom labels and also can be added, and the custom labels also can be provided to the gauge. The range colors can be applied to the axis ticks and axis labels. So you can turn off this option also. We provide support for three kind of pointers. This is the range pointer, and next one is needle pointer, and next one is marker pointer. This one shows the marker pointer with text as content. Multiple ranges also can be added to the radial gauge. Range thickness and the gradient colors can be applied to the ranges in the gauge. This shows the direction compass where W and N and S and D are the annotations added to the gauge. Image annotation also can be added. Here we customize the range to interactively work. Okay, let me jump into the barcode demos. Barcode used to display 1D and 2D barcode in your application. It supports 10 plus barcode symbology standards. So this is one is data matrix barcode, and this one is QR barcode, and this is code 11 barcode. So we are supporting 10 plus symbologies. We are planning to add 2 more standards in the upcoming release. Next comes the tree view. Tree view comes with some advanced features like load on demand, where you can the data can be loaded in on demand when expanding via commands. Complete MEM support is provided. Also, tree view is implemented considering UA virtualization and reusing, where you can deal with millions of records also. And also it provides built-in checkbox support with a recursive checking support, where you can check or uncheck all the nodes in the and also you can customize as you need using templates. Next one is batch control, one of our popular control in our Xamarin. We have included this in our WinUI also. This allows to show notification over any UI control in WinUI. So we provide support to change the shape and also field color. We provide built-in options, and also animation support has been provided. So when you change the value, the batch control will get animated. The position of the batch can be changed to any place. So also you can use the batch control inside the list view or tab control also, tab headers also. So runtime updations are also supported. Next, we have our color picker and palette controls are packed with complete customization and support for linear and radial gradient brush editing. So this is our drop-down color picker, where the color picker is hosted in drop-down to select colors. It supports RGB, HSL, HSV, and CMYK color modes. So the header of the drop-down color picker can be customized as you need. So, and also it provides drop-down button mode and split button mode. In the split button mode, the last selected color can get applied when you're clicking the header portion of the drop-down button here. Also, we provide support to edit linear and also radial gradient type of brushes also. So Next is our color palette controls. Unlike color picker, it provides predefined colors to choose. It comes with theme colors and standard colors and more colors option. If the palette colors are not enough, then customer can choose the color he wants using the more colors option. This also supports both the drop-down mode and also split button mode to choose the color. Let me go over some of the features of color palette. So automatic button, theme colors, standard colors, and more colors. These buttons visibilities can be toggled as you need. So no color button also can be shown if needed. Also, color palette comes up with various kind of built-in palettes. These are all the standards as per the Word. These are all the palette colors, and these are all the shades of the palette color. You can show or hide the color shades. For standard colors also, you can show or hide the standard colors, and also you can enable the color shades for the standard colors also. That's it with the demos. Hope you all enjoyed the demos. You can also download and install the SyncFusion WinUI controls demos from our website. Just go to www.syncfusion.com/WinUI/controls and click View Demos to download and install the demos. So next question might be how to use our controls in your application. You can download WinUI setup and install. Once you installed, you can just open SyncFusion WinUI control panel and explore and run the demos. NuGets for running the demos will be pre-configured in Visual Studio when you are installing the setup. If you want to give a try and don't want to download and install the setup, then all our NuGets are available in nuget.org, where you can simply search for SyncFusion WinUI, where you can get the NuGet and directly use our controls from the NuGet. We have also published the demos in ZF. The documentation and API reference is available in our help site. Our help documentation provides details for all the features included in our controls. So once you install the setup, you will get an SyncFusion WinUI controls panel, so where you can just click run local demos and run the demos. The NuGet packages will get installed in your machine itself, and the demos for the WinUI controls that I have shown before also will be shipped. So you can just click sample browser solution and just restore the NuGet packages and run the demos. If you want to explore individual control demos, then just click individual control demo solution file and then restore the NuGet packages and then just run to explore the demos. So we are also working on new controls and features for our next major version of WinUI, which is expected to release by end of this year. You can expect more features in chart, data grid, and also we plan to provide Win32 support for December release. We also plan some plus new controls such as ribbon, calendar, date picker, time picker, calendar date picker, range slider, and picker. Also, we are working on some of the controls for Spring 2021. Scheduler, PDF viewer, and Excel library, and PDF library, and Word libraries, which used to create, read, and edit the Excel, PDF, and files as you need. And also, we are working on diagram component for WinUI. So also, we love to hear your feedbacks. Just give a moment to download and check out our demos. You can share your feedbacks and new feature requests and improvements and new controls that you would like to see next via our feedback portal. If you have any queries or help needed, you can contact us via our online support portal or through our community forum also. So thank you. If you have any questions, you can ask.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much. It's so cool to see just how far you can really take WinUI. And I mean, seeing all these new controls, there seems to just be like a million more things that you can do with it. So that's super awesome. Thanks so much. If anybody has questions about SyncFusion, I have good news for you because we are about to go into our Q&A session. So we are going to try and do together mode on Teams so you can see the whole group together. Savoy, I think I'm going to hand it off to you now.
All right. Thank you very much, Anna. My camera is on. Let me know when you have us in together mode here.
All right. I can see you, but it's only you, Savoy.
Only me so far. Everyone,
Yeah.
Go ahead and turn on your cameras and join me here.
Savoy, your hair is epic.
It's growing wildly out of control. That's where I'm at right now. All right. So awesome. There's everyone's camera. And I believe I have a question for everyone today. JP, do you mind if we start with you? Don't? There you are. JP, your mic's muted, but go ahead and unmute because Matt Lacey is asking, will the tooling you showed us also be open source, or will the VS integrations be kept private?
Sure. Can I just get confirmation that you guys hear me?
I hear you.
Perfect. So on that question for open source and tooling work, due to the just technical complexity and VS not being open source themselves, I expect that all the VS integrations will not be open source for WinUI 3.
Gotcha. Thank you for answering. Let's see what else we have here. I'll throw a question to our guest. Siva Kumar, we have someone asking, Fez F34 asks, will your color picker just support 8-bit colors, or are there plans for more there?
We have more plans for color picker, like to pick the colors from other places also. So eyedropper kind of features we planned on our side.
Perfect. And while we have you here, oh, go ahead.
If you need any particular feature, then please go to our feedback portal and request there. So surely we will consider.
Awesome. And so the stuff you showed was fabulous. How many chart types are supported in SyncFusion chart? Is that something you're able to share more about?
Yes. Right now we are supporting 10 plus chart types. Also, we have planned around 10 plus for coming December release. So our chart types will get incremented for each release.
Awesome.
We are
And
adding more and more chart.
Go ahead. Sorry about that.
We are adding more and more chart types. So by end of December release, we will have around 20 plus chart types.
That's awesome. Pramalini, I have a question for you next, coming from Dot Morton, who's asking, what's the standing with the promise to accept community PRs? How many have been merged so far?
So we merged one back in July. And yes, while it was definitely on our radar to do at least one every month since then, as you know, our team was low on resources, and we fully expected to be resourced back up in August and September, but that was not the case. And so with our existing team, we were heads down on .NET 5, and unfortunately, we were not able to pick PRs. We chose PRs, but we couldn't get them merged. Now, and one of the main reasons was there was a slight change in the team, and that was definitely of impact to us. We do expect to be in better shape by the end of the year, and we do expect that we will be able to get back to choosing PRs and merging by then. With that said, do look out for an update to the roadmap that we're going to be making shortly, and that will provide more answers to some of these questions.
Awesome. All right, Ryan, a question for you. Amin is asking, can WinUI be used with Blazor or Fluent UI? Are there plans there?
First of all, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, excellent. Yep, glad that it's mic's working. Can WinUI be used with Fluent UI? You mean like I see, Fluent UI, not the Fluent design system. We don't have any specific plans to go and combine like WinUI in some special way with either Blazor or Fluent UI at this time. That's something that we could explore sometime down the road. We have had more discussions about having WinUI 3 power Maui. So that's definitely a thing that we've discussed. But there's sort of like a lot of frameworks floating around. And some of them we have more plans for than others. Right now, in terms of like the Fluent UI framework and then also the Blazor stuff, we don't have any specific plans at this time.
Awesome. So Steve, question for you. Kevin is asking, is there any chance that the nightly WinUI builds will make it easier to support feedback of in-development controls?
Nightly WinUI builds? That I guess I wasn't aware of any talk about having nightly WinUI builds. Is there any more clarification on that question? I think we're still.
Maybe I can jump in a little bit.
Go for it, Mike.
There's a few questions about us being able to put out more frequent preview releases. And we had talked previously about having we had a preview in July, we're having a preview next month. We were talking about having a preview earlier in the autumn. And we mentioned that it takes a lot of effort. We do put a lot of effort into putting out these pre-releases. We have thousands of tests that are running every day, but there's still a lot of benefit that we get from doing a lot of manual verification, running through the XAML controls gallery and running through scenarios in Visual Studio. And so there is some cost to it. We put a lot of effort into it, but we're trying to make some improvements. We've had a lot of testing, automated testing to do the things that before we were going to do with manual verification, and we're trying to make some other improvements to lower the costs and then make it easier to put out pre-releases.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Mike. I'm going to make sure I grab a few questions from GitHub. Let's see what we have here. So one's coming for Ryan from Shahid Malik, who's asking, what's the status of adding a faux acrylic brush to represent the host backdrop acrylic brush functionality in 3.0 until the proper fix is done?
That's a good question too. I'll say a couple things about that. One, I think we're still trying to determine whether or not we need to do something like a faux acrylic for 3.0. The feature roadmap that Anna mentioned at the start of the call sort of tries to take a conservative approach, so it indicates that acrylic comes later. I think there's still conversation that we would want to have around whether or not we should do something in 3.0. But the other thing I want to say is that as we've talked about sort of this faux acrylic, we actually have identified just good reasons to want to have a durable faux acrylic distinct from acrylic. So that's also part of the conversation that we're having too. Acrylic is fairly performance intensive. There's some places where you don't want to splash acrylic, and we've given guidance to say that you don't want to splash it. So we're also considering maybe making something that isn't meant to be just a temporary fix, but actually do something durable there and something new. So.
Awesome. So I have a question from Shimmy, who's asking, and Ryan, Mike, not sure which one of you this should go to, but they're asking, is there any progress or plans about the new SDK style CS proj for UWP and WinUI?
Maybe Steve can jump in on that. We've got the SDK style project on the SDK style projects for the WinUI projects.
Yeah, I think, and just to add on to what Mike was saying, once we have official support for EWP, you'll see that come. We just don't have a timeline there yet. I know it's probably not what people want to hear, but hopefully, I know JP is going to file an issue on our GitHub kind of talking about where we're kind of that demo I showed today. He's going to kind of go in more depth about it and talk about it. Hopefully you'll have that issue on GitHub by the Preview 3 release, and you can kind of play around with it there. And that was using the SDK style project. We just don't have full support yet.
Gotcha. Another question, not sure if this goes to Mike or Steve, but Carlo is asking, I used a UWP PDF library, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around the path forward or impact here. Are there WinUI PDF libraries, are the WinUI PDF library and UWP PDF library going to be maintained in parallel?
I don't know which library.
Yeah, I haven't looked at that in a while. We don't have any currently working on those libraries for WinUI 3.
Gotcha. So Carlo, it sounds like maybe take that one to our GitHub repo, and we can hope to get you more answers there. Some more questions from GitHub here. So Ryan, another one for you. Kevin is saying the number one thing he wants is a temporary solution for using .NET 5 with UWP and WinUI 3. Is there anything you can add here?
Yeah, I might actually bring in Steve Kerbach on this one as well, because my understanding is there is sort of like some temporary stuff that you can do just to sort of unblock. Steve, do you want to go into some more details on that?
Yeah, so that was kind of, when I saw that question on the GitHub, I was like, oh, it's like buttering me up for what I was going to show today. So yeah, what I showed today and what JP is going to talk about more on GitHub is that temporary solution where it's only on desktop. It's not the best experience, but I think hopefully will meet those needs.
Awesome. So a question from Marcel, and this is headed towards JP. JP, are there plans to improve UI testing tools with WinUI 3? So improvements in the ballpark of WinAppDriver or Wrapper for common UI controls?
That's a good question, and I unfortunately do not have the answer to that. I'm not familiar enough with those controls that Marcel is mentioning in the question.
Maybe Mike or Steve, is that something you're able to add on to, or should we direct Marcel to our repo to ask about that one?
I would direct him to our repo. I know Stephen Moyes was looking into this a little bit. I'm not sure how much detail that's been going into yet. So I don't know if Mike has anything.
So unless there's something Mike wants to jump in with there, I want to make sure Gabby gets a question. Gabby, what features didn't make it into InfoBar V1 that you're hoping to see come through in a V2?
Yeah, there's been a lot of conversation on the GitHub issue about this. And so right now, another new PM on our team, Kat, is working on an expander control. So in the InfoBar, we'd like to leverage the functionality from that and add it into InfoBar when it's ready to add this truncation option for really long messages. There's also a lot of conversation going around the action button content and a floating info bar. So if you have kind of your use cases or opinions on that, we'd love to hear that in the issue.
Awesome. One for Miguel coming from Sergio. Miguel, Sergio is asking, are there any updates on the proposal for implicit dispatching support for bindings? I still dream of a future with no more bothering about thread dispatching from the back end.
Ooh. Yeah, I need to follow up this question. I don't know the answer right now, but yeah, I will follow up that.
Excellent. All right, so we've got 2 minutes here, and I'll still try to get through as many as I can. And questions are coming in fast. Let's grab this one for, let's see. For this one will be for Ryan and Mike Hilberg, and it comes from Matt Lacey on GitHub. Previously, when discussing the changes to the roadmap, it's explained that the reason for doing so was less frequent preview release. The reason for doing less frequent preview releases was due to the amount of time and effort required to produce a release. The current wisdom around DevOps and releases is that if they are hard, you should do more of them more often so that they become easier. Was this concept considered when plans were made to slow releases? If you keep the plan of fewer releases, what will this mean for preview releases once 3.0 has shipped?
I can start on that, and then Mike, if you want to jump in, you can too. I would say, first of all, our team has gone through, I would say, a learning curve, you might say, in these releases. When we first did the first alpha and then the second alpha in February and then preview 1, they were all pretty like tiring releases. Like there was a lot of testing that went into them. We spent a lot of time trying to make sure that, you know, they were good. We put our best foot forward, and they almost felt like full releases of like a production thing, even though they weren't. And after we did preview 1, we did a little bit of a post-mortem internally and just said like, hey, these releases are exhausting. And we want to get to a spot where they're more of a non-event, where it's easy for us to split off the bits and ship them out and show people what we have. There would never be a world where it's a complete non-event, like there's no, you know, smoke testing that needs to be done or anything like that. But we can certainly get it lighter. And, you know, I think eventually we want to get to a place where, you know, we have like nightly builds, where we have maybe monthly pre-releases that we do. And, you know, it takes both a mindset shift and also physical work to get to that point. We're not quite at that point yet, but that's definitely something that we aspire to. And Mike, if you have more that you want to chime in there, feel free.
No, I mean, as Matt said, doing it more frequently makes it easier and cheaper, and that's kind of the process we've been going through, and it's the process we're about to start into right now for the next preview.
Awesome. So we're at time here, and I want to make sure everyone gets a question, so I'll shepherd this last one to Marissa. Marissa, pager control's looking awesome. Can you provide any insight on when that might be seeing release in preview or release in RTM?
Sure. So pager control will be available for you all to try out and provide feedback on in the next pre-release. And right now it's targeted for the WinUI 2.5 stable release.
Awesome. Okay, with that, I know there's a lot more questions left. Thank you, everyone, today for having so many interesting questions for our team. Like always, I'll make sure that I grab all the remaining questions from chat, and we'll either save them for next month's community call or we'll get them responded to on GitHub. So thanks for joining me, and I'll turn it back over to Anna to close out the call.
All right. Thanks so much, Savoy. And thanks again to our awesome question answerers. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Sorry we went a little over this time. As Savoy said, if your question did not get answered, feel free to, you know, post it on GitHub if it's really urgent. But we will try to get everything answered, whether it's on the next call or just on our repo. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and hope everyone has a great rest of their day. Thanks for watching. Bye, everyone.